Let's start it here. All right, so the little boy got his sweatshirt.
Yeah,
He's
I'm all
warm.
You offered and then realized you didn't have a jacket.
Earlier, I was like, "Hey, you want me to get you a jacket?" I didn't have a jacket. Yeah, but
I was like,
the right
"Yeah, I'll
thing to
take
say.
one."
Oh.
I actually don't have one.
But all right, so we're back.
Yeah.
Hoodie and all, we're comfy, we're good.
Yeah.
I saw the man shaking. He was like, I felt like Rose in Titanic. You were Jack, like hanging on. I'm like, I gotta actually get this guy on here. I can't let him go. So the question is, early phase, somebody's running a business,
Yeah.
they're doing okay, but they want to try and connect with some micro-influencers, not the big daddies,
Right.
but just somebody smaller, just to be able to kind of build that relationship that they think could help grow their brand. What would you suggest, the first steps?
Well, first of all, it's a great way to start. I mean, all honestly, that's how, like, I think I get that question all the time is like, how do I start reaching out to influencers? How do I even start an influencer program? I would say build a long-term relationship. It's very similar to dating. I mean, like, if you want to, like, eventually get married, like, you got to just get out there and start dating and start talking to people. Eventually you want to find like those long-term mates, not necessarily dates. You want to have that, build that long-term core community of people. So what I would say is providing value up front, and like what we were talking about earlier, is crafting a message where you're actually DMing them on Instagram or email and basically saying like, you're a perfect person that represents our brand really well, and we just want to send you our product because that, simply, and never asking for anything in return.
So I want to dissect that a little bit.
Yeah.
So you slide into their DMs,
Yeah.
and you're saying, hey, I just think you align with who we are, what matters to us. So would you create like a generic one that you send to everybody, or would you actually craft an email?
Out of time, I would definitely create like a template.
Maybe like a template and then add a couple things to it based off of the person.
Yeah.
Don't be the person that has somebody else's name in a template and says it's the wrong person.
Bro,
I've gotten those emails before.
That was always my biggest fear.
Oh, dude, you send it, you just can't get it back.
Some influencer is going to put me on blast on their story and just be like, this company doesn't even take the time to just call me by my first name.
Because I've gotten a lot of emails from people sending me pitches and stuff, and it's got like, it's like Jason is the name, and I'm like, dude, that ain't me. Like, tell Jason. So
you still call me by the wrong name, but
I know, that's okay. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get the second episode. Second time you come on, I give you a little more respect. You know,
right?
Yeah,
okay. You
gotta make them submissive on the first one.
Corey.
So you slide in, you just make it real and authentic, and you say, hey, I just want to send you product, no expectation.
Right. Yeah. This is a good takeaway. Use the phrase "no strings attached." It makes influencers just feel completely at ease, which is like, like they just get hounded all day long by brands. And so you're going to be the person that asks to post twice a week. Like, don't be that person. Like, be the person
Which I think
just
a lot of
hey, I just
people
want to
do.
provide you value. I want to give you, because you represent our product and our brand so well. That's it.
And so you're saying like,
you want to believe the response that you get.
Just you wearing it. It's like we just want to give you like our shirt or our shoes or our socks, just wear them, like try them out, and no strings attached. We just want to give you a shot, and then I'm sure from an influencer standpoint, they're like, oh, thank God this person's not going to ask me to post 5 times. I think
it's refreshing.
A lot of probably the early people, because they want to be hungry and ambitious. But then they also don't do a good job of thinking about things from the influencer's perspective. Like, you're one of 100 emails that they're getting or 100 messages that they're getting. Where people are like, hey, can I send this to you? And then you post about it once you have it. That's probably the go-to, and they're not going to respond well to that.
Well, you want to date like that, would you?
No.
Like, I'll pay for your dinner if you kind of, like...
I'm sure some people do date like that.
Exactly.
But that's why they're still dating.
Yes, exactly. So it's a very similar relationship that you want to treat them like family, or you want to treat them like you're courting them into like being long-term adopters of your brand.
So when would you send a follow-up? Would you send a follow-up? Would you say...
sure. Like, how you liking it?
Would you say, would you say, hey, let me know when you get it, or no? Would you just kind of like send a follow-up a week later that's like, hey, did you get it? Just want to see if you like it, what your thoughts were?
I mean, yeah, you can kind of play it by however that person wants to, or...
Is there a rule? Like, I mean, equating it to dating, it's like, hey, you go on a date, you want to text for a couple days, I don't know if those... I don't know if those rules apply anymore. I haven't dated in a while, but... It's like, would you let it breathe a little bit? Like, send it, and you can check tracking, see if it gets delivered, and then maybe
It's also a case where it's like, as much as we were seeding at Kalo, like I was just constantly seeding, like it was almost impossible to do follow-ups to everybody.
Yeah, seeding being a terminology for sending.
Yeah, we probably should have defined it.
Yeah, no, it's good because I've used it before. And people are like, I don't know what seeding is. So seeding is basically
sending your product out for free.
Yep.
That could be your mom.
Yeah,
that could be,
it could be anybody.
But how we're referring to it is influencers But I would even say that the influencer and sending your product out is not necessarily someone that's has a lot of followers either.
Yeah.
I've talked about like the Paul Gomez example at Progenics with when Kayla was trying to get into CrossFit. Like the dude had 800 followers, but he knew everyone in the industry. So like there's people like that where you just got to see who's the web of connections. Like I think a good exercise for people is to actually think about, okay, what category do I want my product to be in? I think the challenge was that Kayla was just like applied to so many different categories, but more often than not, that's not
somebody's like, I'm creating a running sock, right?
Right,
so it's
exactly.
Like you're going to runners
going
and
into
marathoners.
Running, so picture like the people, like what's the podcast? What's the media partnerships? What are like the seeding lists of influencers? What are like the ambassadors that you would love to have eventually represent your brand? Like going through these different categories and thinking in those ways is how you genuinely enter in. But I think seeding like in paid media, like they use that example of like the funnel or like the customer journey. Like seeding is like that very top. Like unless you buy the product, how are you experiencing the product any other way?
Yeah.
Besides me sending it to you, or if you're the owner of the brand, like sending it to you, and so that like that experience of the product, and especially like the first time they're hearing from a brand, you're asking them like, hey, would you mind posting on your story twice a week because I sent you to this? And it's like, dude, I've never even heard of it.
Dude, I'll send it back. I'll send it right back right now.
Like,
No, I don't want it.
Like, I don't want the free product if it is, but like a lot of people will take it for free if you're just like, I just want you to have it.
Especially, I think it's helpful to understand that like that's their own Instagram profile. That's their life that you're asking. You're basically saying like, can you insert me into it and leverage your followers to then benefit me? And it's just not an authentic way of doing it.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone, because I've heard this before, just giving away my product, like it costs a lot, or what would you say to someone that says, well, my product costs like $5-10 a pop, maybe $20 a pop?
Yeah.
How do
or you're selling it for, it's a $600 product or whatever.
Whatever it is, the MSRP here is $300.
Yeah.
It costs me $80.
Yeah.
How do I just send this product out to people?
Create a budget to do it once a month. Just pick out one person. Like I guarantee you can create enough budget to like carve out $80 and be like, this is just gonna go to a free person. Like either a person in the industry, I'm gonna write a handwritten note and I'm gonna say like, hey, you represent our brand so well.
I think it may even be an opportunity to like have it be more meaningful to the person receiving it too.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, I don't know if you would say like, you're the one person I sent it to, but it's like, hey, this product is expensive. I'm just getting started. Like, would really appreciate your feedback on it, or to give give it a shot. No strings attached. Just like, I hope you enjoy it.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah. And you're getting feedback from actually like hopefully end users. So it's just the first touch point with the influencers, especially if you're wanting to work with influencers increasingly. Like that's got to be part of your strategy and budget. Because I mean, Kalo is like, we were afforded the opportunity to send out a ton all the time. Yeah. But I totally get it. Like if your product is $800 and you're selling like a bike, you know, like one, it's really expensive to ship, but I would still encourage you to carve out just one a month, one a quarter. Like those things you're not going to see immediate ROI, but even with the introduction of Instagram stories, like you're just starting to see like a lot of people, even without you asking, they'll just throw it up.
Because it's a little less invasive. A story's a little less invasive, right? Like an actual post is like you're taking time, you're creating caption. A story is just that you could be recording your life and like it happened to be, like you could even be watching it happen to be on their counter. They're not even talking about it, but they're talking about making dinner, and it's like your product's just sitting right there on the side.
Yeah. No, and a brand a client that we work with, they saw on their story that Kristen Bell was using their product, and they put it on their story. Like they're so small that Kristen Bell's never gonna be like, hey, take it down or anything like that. But it's still like she just saw it in passing. She didn't even tag like the brand or anything. Yeah. So
that's a good transition. What about like respecting influencers? Like that example, for instance, like Kristen Bell posts it, and you see your product on there, and it's like, well, then I'm going to repost it on mine. And that was one thing that when we were at Kalo that we were actually really cautious of. Yeah. Because of like copywriting and things like that, but also just respecting the relationship.
It was like 99% that.
Yeah.
Because like I think like as far as the Instagram stuff, like I think they're way too busy to have everyone notice.
To ever even care.
But it's just like the opportunity where it's like they hear about it from one of their followers, like Kayla posted about it, and you're just like, to ruin the relationship. That was definitely the majority of it.
Yeah. So what about paying influencers? So somebody's like, hey, I have a little bit of a budget. I've got $5,000 a month to pay influencers.
Which is, you can do a lot with.
Should I get 10 $500
You can send that all to
influencers?
kinship.
I'd send it there first, right?
Right.
And then we'll
Yeah,
figure out
we'll
what we
have
do
to-
with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I've got $5,000. Do I get 10 $500 influencers? Do I get one $5,000 influencer? How much do influencers cost? Like, I think once you get to the money thing is when people are like, cool, I can send the free messages out and I can send my product out, but what about when an influencer goes, oh, it'll be $1,000 for me to post. How do you view paying influencers and the value in it?
Yeah. I think it depends on what you're asking of them. You have to know who you're talking to, like what tier of influencer. Number two, like what are you asking them of? Because if they have an agent or themselves, if they're smart, they'll know like time is money, just like anything. So how much time are you going to ask me to make a 5-minute YouTube video, or are you asking me to, just post on my feed? Like those are obviously different things. And a big thing that we believe in, and really you should, especially when you're early on, like the repurposability of it. So like we always talked about like usage rights to be able to put on an ad and all that stuff, and like testimonials with influencers. So whether the number is really up to you. I mean, I don't have like a formula as far as like $500 to 10 influencers. If you're getting much more content from those 10 influencers, or you just get a ton of content from one influencer, like that can be just as good. But at least get 30 days to be able to not only just repost on your social, but like put it all at different places, because that's when you start to see the true like ROI of influencer marketing come across. And organic is great, like especially when you're first starting out, like you want to establish that social conversation and that audience demographic, and you want to start to see people rally around your brand. That's really important, especially when you're trying to establish like credibility within the space. But it's just limited because you're limited to that person's feed.
Yeah.
So I kind of said a lot of things, but
No, it makes sense.
yeah.
So, I kind of want to wrap this one up a little bit, and we'll do a couple more questions that are more specific questions that are shorter form videos.
Yeah.
And we'll have Cody share a little bit more about sort of his experience at Kalo and what he learned specifically working for a brand that did influencers really well and does influencers really well. And then also some more specific questions for early stage entrepreneurs. So, dude, thanks for this long version, man. This is really nice. I had a really nice time.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Corey.
Did I call you Corey to start?
Corey? No.
I would never.
No, you didn't.
I would never.
You didn't.
Corey Whittick, everybody. See you guys.